Only on CBS This Morning, we're hearing from the Massachusetts Attorney General, who blames the founding family of a pharmaceutical company for helping create the opioid drug crisis. The CDC says 400,000 people died from opioid overdoses between 1999 and 2017. That's about the equivalent to the population of Cleveland, Ohio. In a lawsuit, the state targets Purdue Pharma and 8 members of the Sackler family. It alleges they are personally responsible for deceptively selling OxyContin. Purdue Pharma calls the accusations a rush to vilify the drug maker. Tony Dokoupil is at Suffolk County Superior Court in Boston ahead of a hearing Friday for this case. Tony, good morning.
Hey there, good morning. I'll tell you, one thing you notice reading through this lawsuit is that there is a lot that is still redacted. And lawyers for Purdue Pharma plan to argue tomorrow that it should stay that way. But the Attorney General of Massachusetts says this is already the most complete record to date of how the opioid crisis began and why members of the Sackler family itself should be held accountable.
I'll be 29 on Friday, and I didn't think I'd make it to 25, to be honest.
Jonathan Burke says his battle with addiction began 11 years ago with a dirt bike accident and a 2-month prescription of OxyContin. Just 2 weeks later, he was hooked.
The way that your brain becomes rehardwired after an addiction is just absolutely insane.
Burke later turned to illegal drugs and ended up stealing to fund his habit.
It literally damaged every relationship with every family member, friend, person I acquired in my life.
Burke's home state of Massachusetts is one of 36 states now suing Purdue Pharma, accusing the company of downplaying the dangers of OxyContin. In a 2007 federal settlement, the company admitted to falsely selling the drug as less addictive than rival products. The company paid $630 million in fines. But Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey says the dishonesty continued. In her lawsuit, she names 8 members of the family that owns Purdue Pharma, alleging they micromanaged a deceptive sales campaign.
In the conclusion to the complaint, you say that the Sackler family used the power at their disposal through Purdue to, in your words, engineer an opioid crisis. It's pretty strong words.
It's pretty reprehensible conduct.
Healey alleges Sackler family members hired hundreds of workers to carry out their wishes, pushing doctors to get more patients on opioids at higher doses for longer than ever before, all while paying themselves billions of dollars.
They don't want to accept blame for this. They blame doctors. They blame prescribers. And worst of all, they blame patients.
When you say they, you mean Purdue or you mean the Sackler family, or are they one and the same?
They're one and the same.
In one alleged instance, then-President Richard Sackler devised what Healey describes as Sackler's solution to the overwhelming evidence of overdose and death. Writing in a confidential email, "We have to hammer on the abusers in every way possible. They are the culprits and the problem." This so-called culprit suggests Sackler take a dose of his own medicine.
I would personally tell him to take 2 a day for 2 weeks and see how he ends up.
In a statement, Purdue Pharma calls the Massachusetts lawsuit a rush to vilify the drug maker, saying it distorts critical facts and cherry-picked from among tens of millions of emails and other business documents.
If Purdue thinks we're cherry-picking, I invite them to produce all of their documents and let the public judge for itself.
So you're saying they knew that this was addictive. They knew people were dying. And it was greed that drove them forward?
Of course it was greed.
Now, we should point out, we did reach out to the Sackler family and their lawyer. 3 of the Sacklers declined to comment through a press representative who advertises crisis communication, and the rest never got back to us. But it's really no surprise there. This is a family that rarely publicly addresses its connection to the company that made it rich. And we'll have much more on that tomorrow. Nora?
I'm glad we're doing that at 2 parts here. It's really interesting, Tony. Thank you so much. Great reporting.